The Arctic and Antarctica are the two polar regions of the Earth, but they are very different in terms of geography, climate, ecosystems, and human activity. The Arctic is an ocean surrounded by land and a long history of human habitation, whereas Antarctica is a frozen, isolated continent with no permanent residents and is dedicated to scientific research under international treaties. Here is a detailed breakdown of the differences between the Arctic and Antarctica. Number 1. Location. Arctic. The Arctic is located in the northern hemisphere surrounding the North Pole. It includes parts of several countries like Canada, Russia, the United States in Alaska, Norway, Denmark, Greenland, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland. It is primarily an ocean, the Arctic Ocean, surrounded by continents and islands. Antarctica. Antarctica is located in the southern hemisphere surrounding the South Pole. It is a continent surrounded by the Southern Ocean and is the southernmost point of the Earth. Number 2. Geography. Arctic. The Arctic is mostly ocean covered by sea ice. The Arctic Ocean is surrounded by land masses including parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. During the summer, much of the ice melts, exposing the ocean, and in the winter, the sea ice reforms. The region has landforms like tundra, mountains, and plains in the surrounding areas of countries like Russia, Canada, and Greenland. Antarctica. Antarctica is a vast landmass covered by a thick icy sheet, making it the highest, driest, and coldest continent on Earth. About 98% of the continent is covered in ice, with some areas of exposed rock, mountain ranges, and ice-free zones called dry valleys. Unlike the Arctic, it is a continent with no native human population, only scientific research stations. Number 3. Climate. Arctic. The Arctic has a cold climate, but it is relatively milder compared to Antarctica. Temperatures in Arctic can range from around -40 degrees centigrade in winter to 0 degrees centigrade in the summer. The Arctic experiences polar nights, complete darkness in winter, and midnight sun, 24 hours daylight in summer due to the tilt of the Earth axis. Antarctica. Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth, with temperatures in the interior reaching as low as -80 degrees centigrade in winter. Coastal areas are slightly warmer, but temperatures rarely exceed -20 degrees centigrade. The continent experiences harsh katabatic winds and is much drier than the Arctic, often considered a polar desert due to its extremely low humidity and precipitation. Number 4. Flora and fauna. Arctic. The Arctic is home to a wide variety of plant and animal species. Vegetation includes tundra plants like mosses, lichens, and small shrubs that can survive the cold. Animals include polar bears, Arctic foxes, caribou, reindeers, seals, and walruses, and several birds species. Marine life includes whale and various fish. Polar bears are iconic to the Arctic, but they do not live in Antarctica. Antarctica has far less plant life than the Arctic, with only mosses, lichens, and algae able to survive in the harsh conditions. Wildlife is primarily found along the coast and includes penguins, seals, and seabirds like squaws and petrels. Marine life is rich with whales, krill, and various fish species thriving in the Southern Ocean. Penguins are native to Antarctica but do not live in the Arctic. Number 5. Human presence. Arctic. The Arctic has been inhabited by indigenous peoples like the Inuit, Sami, and Nenets for thousands of years. Many communities still live in the Arctic region today. Several countries with Arctic territories have developed towns and cities in the region, such as Barrow in Alaska, Longyearbyen in Norway, Minsk in Russia. There are also military bases, commercial industries including oil, gas, fishing, and tourism. Antarctica. Antarctica has no permanent human population and has never had an indigenous population. Human presence is limited to temporary scientific research stations operated by various countries. During the summer months, about 4,000 researchers stays on the continent, while in the winter the number drops to around thousands. Antarctica is governed by the Antarctic Treaty, which prohibits military activity, mineral mining, and nuclear testing while promoting scientific cooperation. Number 6. Legal and political status. Arctic. The Arctic is politically divided among the countries that surround it, including Russia, Canada, Norway, Denmark, Greenland, and the United States. These countries have sovereign rights to parts of the Arctic, including the rights to explore and extract natural resources such as oil and gas. The Arctic Council is an intergovernmental forum and promotes cooperation and sustainable development among Arctic nations. Antarctica. Antarctica is governed by the Antarctic Treaty System, an international agreement signed by 54 countries. The treaty preserves Antarctica for peaceful scientific research and bans military activity and resource exploitation. No country owns Antarctica, though several countries have made territorial claims, including the UK, Argentina, Australia, and Chile. But these claims are not internationally recognized. The continent is seen as global commons, meaning it belongs to no single country and is governed cooperatively. Arctic. The Arctic consists mostly of sea ice, which floats on the surface of the Arctic Ocean. The extent of this sea ice fluctuates seasonally, shrinking in the summer and growing in the winter. The surrounding land masses have glaciers and ice caps, but they are much smaller than those in Antarctica. Antarctica contains about 90% of the world's fresh water in its massive ice sheets. The ice is up to 4.8 kilometers thick in some areas. Glaciers cover nearly the entire continent, and icebergs regularly breaks off, a process called calving, from the ice shelves floating into the Southern Ocean. Number 8. Sunlight and seasons. Arctic. The Arctic experiences polar day 24-hour sunlight in the summer and polar night 24-hour darkness in the winter due to the tilt of the Earth's axis. Seasons in the Arctic are less extreme than in Antarctica, with relatively milder winters. Antarctica also experiences polar day and polar night, but its seasons are opposite to those in the Arctic. When it's summer in Arctic, it's winter in Antarctica, and vice versa. The extreme tilt of the Earth and the continent's high elevation contribute to its harsher, longer winters and colder temperatures. Number 9. Ongoing environmental issues. Arctic. The Arctic is warming twice as fast as the global average, a phenomenon known as Arctic amplification. This is causing the Arctic sea ice to shrink rapidly, impacting global weather patterns and the habitat of the wildlife like polar bears. Melting permafrost is releasing methane, a potent greenhouse gas which contributes to global warming. Antarctica. Antarctica's ice sheets are melting, particularly in West Antarctica, contributing to rising global sea levels. The warming of the Southern Ocean is also affecting the marine ecosystem, impacting species like krills, which are vital to part of the Antarctic food chain. While both the Arctic and Antarctica are cold, icy regions at opposite ends of the Earth, they differ greatly in terms of geography, climate, ecosystems, human presence, and legal governance.